Superman coming to the rescue. In reality, it's up to us to find our courage, to use our hearts, and to think for ourselves. We are beginning to show up, speak up, and come together to expose the truth of the recklessness and corruption happening in our own backyards. I have seen over and over again in countless communities that when we activate, we become the force that can create the change. One of the best examples of this is Flint, Michigan, where a massive ongoing cover-up and crime against humanity has been perpetuated against innocent people. For a decade. These unconscionable crimes have been buried by a state whose leaders knowingly sent poisoned water straight to the taps of its citizens. It was the moms, the dads, the neighbors, the doctors, and many more who reached out, spoke out, and pushed to expose the truth. In the face of government lies and threats, these everyday heroes trusted their inner voices that something was very wrong. To this day, many of them have still not given up the fight for justice for Flint. Before any journalists began to dig, it was the people of Flint who helped expose the cover-up, the lies, and the gross failures of their leaders. It was Flint residents who began to peel back the thick onion layers of crimes and an unfathomable cover-up that began with the theft of their democracy by unelected emergency managers seizing their government. It was Flint residents who screamed for 18 months, often into an empty cave of government disregard, that their state and city leaders were knowingly poisoning them. It was Flint residents who stood up and said, "Enough is enough." I can't believe it. But it's been 10 years since Flint, Michigan was attacked by its own government. It's been 10 years, and regardless of the government's spin and the cherry-picked and manipulated data, the people of Flint are still being poisoned by their water. Nauseatingly, it's been 10 years, and still no government officials have been held accountable. In fact, many have managed to bury their crimes from the public. Until now. While trying to help the people of Flint, I came across an independent journalist named Chariton, who made it his professional and personal mission to expose who really poisoned Flint and why. Through Chariton's unparalleled investigative reporting on the Flint water crisis, which included 20 trips to the embattled city since the crisis sparked international headlines in 2016, we find another example of the courage needed to combat the government corruption and cover-ups poisoning our nation. I am happy to say in this book, Chariton exposes it all. The raw, real, dirty, painful, corrupt, and unconscionable. Through on-the-ground journalism and relationships established with dozens of residents, Chariton embarked on a quest for justice and accountability on behalf of the poisoned people of Flint. More than any journalist, Chariton has lived and breathed this story, fighting against a growing tide of media distractions and sensationalism to keep the Flint water crisis in the minds and hearts of Americans. Through deep reporting and even deeper sources, Chariton has unraveled what could be called the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. He has done this by dedicating hundreds of hours to interviews with the residents of Flint, many of whom credit him with keeping the story alive long after the national news media moved on. Perhaps most impressively, Chariton has shown why this story is not merely about one city or one immoral cover-up, but really about the unholy merger of our government and corporate America, and the resulting toxicity that has infected our representative democracy. Contrary to many journalists who allow major disasters to fade with time, Jordan has been hell-bent on making sure the American people know the Flint water crisis is not over and is still raging. His ability to expose a toxic government and those responsible for poisoning 100,000 people comes from a tenaciousness and a passion for justice that is steadfast and admirable. The following